So we will study about the diversity of living organisms. As we all know, diversity of living organism means wide variety of living organisms present on the earth. So for diversity of living organism, a term is given, that is biodiversity. Biodiversity. It means different types of living organisms which exist on the earth. Different types of living organisms existing on earth. So biodiversity means different types of living organisms. We all know that in the world, not only human beings exist, not only animals exist, but small creatures which we don't know about them, that also exist. Okay, and most of the creatures also we know about them. So that is biodiversity. Now why do we have such large biodiversity or such diversity of life forms on the earth? Because this biodiversity help in maintaining the ecological balance. Ecological balance. Okay, now you might be thinking, what is ecological balance? See, this ecological balance means that one species depends on the other, okay, for some purpose, for being eaten or for eating. So that is maintained. Okay, now if I say that the herbivores, if the herbivores we know that herbivores depend on plants or the grasses. Now if I say that most of the herbivores are dying, so what will happen? The thing which they depend upon, that is the grasses, the number of grasses will increase. Why? Because there is no herbivores to eat them, so that's why it will increase. Now not only the plants will be affected, but the level above the herbivores will be affected. Now suppose I say goat might be eaten by the jackal. Now if jackal are not having the food, means the herbivores are absent or declining, so there will be less food for the upper organisms. Okay, so they will also start dying because due to hunger, because they don't have food. So this ecological balance is maintained through biodiversity only, and lack of any of the species in the world or in the earth may imbalance or disbalance the ecological diversity. Now if you take the example, we all know about food chain and how ecological balance is maintained. It is maintained by food chain and food web. Okay, through food chain and food web, this ecological balance is maintained. Now what is food chain here? Suppose it is a plant is there. Now this plant may be eaten by the goat may be eaten by the jackal, and jackal may be eaten by the lion. Okay, so this is a food chain, means a series of being eaten and being eating is performed here. So this is an example of food chain. Now what is food web? When different food chains are interconnected. Now suppose I am making one food chain. Suppose plant is being eaten by the rabbit. Rabbit is being eaten by the wild cat. And then wild cat may be eaten by the lion. Now there may be chances that jackal might eat the rabbit. So what is happening? They are interconnected. Okay. So when various food chains are interconnected, that is known as the food web. So how ecological balance is maintained on the earth? It is maintained by food chain and the food web occurring in the environment. So this was about the biodiversity. Now next we will study about the evolution. Now in the previous class, as I have already told, that what is evolution? Evolution is formation of organism from the simpler form to the complex form. So that is evolution. Because earlier the complex organisms were not known. Slowly the complexity increased. As I gave you the example of mobile. Earlier we don't have this advanced mobile which we are having now, which we are using today. Okay, at that time such kind of mobile phones were not available. So due to the advancement in the technology and complexity in the technology, such kind of mobile phones are available to us now. So we will study about evolution. So what is evolution? Formation of species from the simpler organisms to complex organisms. Formation of living organisms from simpler to complex. Simpler means it might have happened that earlier the organisms would be single celled. See, till now it is not known. It is a controversy till now that bacteria were the first which were the very first which arose, or any single cell arose. That we don't know. Still now the controversy is going on. So if we say that single cell was the simpler one, now if you talk about human beings, they are multicellular and most complex form. Okay, and why do we say that human beings or other animals are complex? Because if we study about human beings, now in human beings, most various types of systems run, like circulatory system, then nervous system, respiratory system, excretory system, nutrition, digestive system. So these all things run. So that process, if we study in detail about that process, that life processes, you will be able to understand that how complex everything is. Though it seems to be very simple, but actually it is not. Okay, so from simpler to complex, evolution of organisms from simpler to complex is the evolution. Now easy example I would take. Now suppose there are two parents, that is, one is male and one is female. Okay, husband and wife. Okay, now suppose the male have black hair, okay, and the female have brown hair. Okay, so suppose they are having a kid. Okay, suppose they are having two kids. They are having kids. Now one kid is having brown hair and the other kid is having black hair. So how it happened that since their parents consist of black hair and brown hair, so some hereditary characters passed on to them. But one more thing was seen, that their parents, that is mother and father, they have normal eyes, normal black eyes, but the eyes of both the children were different. Okay, now this one had blue eyes and this one has big eyes, very big eyes. Okay, so what happened, these blue eye and big eyes were not passed on from the parents. So suppose this is the first generation. So this blue eyes and big eyes, their parents don't have, but still they are possessing. So there might be some, it is not necessary that what our parents are having, that I will inherit that only. No, there are some changes occurring, there are some mutations occurring due to which this might have happened. Now suppose this when this child becomes big and it gets married. So suppose this child will have, means this grown man, when he gets married or she gets married, so what happened, he or she will have a kid. Okay, now suppose I am talking about second generation. So it might happen that that kid will have the blue eyes, but it's not necessary that it will have the brown hair. It might have the black hair, or it might have other kind of hair. Okay, now here also suppose his kid also is having big eyes. So this is how evolution is occurring. Earlier they were not having the blue eyes, they were not having the big eyes, but slowly when the second generation came, that is, evolution is taking place. Simple was there, now blue eyes came, big eyes came. So this is how evolution is occurring. This is a just simple example to make you understand that how evolution occurs. Okay, so this is the example of evolution. Now next we'll study about the classification of living organisms. We know that the living organisms were classified on certain basis. So there was one scientist known as Aristotle. You all might be knowing about Aristotle. He is the father of biology. So Aristotle, what he did, he classified the living organisms. So Aristotle's classification of living organisms. So here in Aristotle classification, what he did, he took just one characteristics. See, we have studied about the body organization, the body structure, the reproduction, mode of nutrition. But what he did, he just took one characteristic, and that was habitat. Okay, based on habitat, he classified the living organisms. So he basically classified the living organisms into three types based on the habitat. First one was the land, second one was the water, and third one is the aerial. Okay, so those organisms which lives on land, that is the terrestrial animals. Okay, terrestrial animals, then water, that is aquatic, and then aerial. Okay, so he categorized them, suppose bat, birds, then fishes, whales, here elephant, human being, and many more. So what he did, he classified organisms on the basis of their living, where do they live. So land animals, he classified those organisms which live on land as the terrestrial animals. Okay, now those organisms which live in water, that is fishes and whales, and the aerial organisms which fly in the air, that bats and birds and many other. So what happened, he just classified them on the basis of habitat, but he did not tell that whether they were primitive, whether they were single cell, whether what kind of mode of reproduction, what kind of mode of nutrition was there. Okay, so nothing was seen. Just on the basis of habitat, one cannot classify organisms. Okay, so what happened, this classification failed. Nobody accepted this classification because other scientists told that on the basis of habitat one cannot categorize them. Okay, so what happened now, second classification was formed by R.H. Whittaker, Robert Harding Whittaker. What he did, he classified the living organisms. Okay, so he took certain bases, about the bases which we have studied, he mainly took three characteristics. Okay, so those were, that is the cell structure, second was body organization, and third was mode and source of nutrition. Source of nutrition. We already have studied about the cell structure, the body organization, and mode of nutrition. So these three were the bases on which Robert Harding Whittaker classified the organisms. So based on these characteristics, he classified the organisms into five important kingdoms. Okay, so we all know about kingdom. You all study in history that one king rules the whole kingdom. Okay, so means what happened, he categorized on the basis of certain characteristics the five kingdoms. We will study about those kingdoms later on one by one, but just we will know what are those kingdoms classified by Robert Harding Whittaker. So that kingdom was known as, that classification was known as five kingdom classification. Five kingdom classification. So under this kingdom, suppose under the five kingdoms, under each heading, those organisms were put which have similar characteristics related to that kingdom. Okay, so that whole kingdom was containing more of the species which belong to that category. So first was Monera. Monera, Protista, fungi, Plantae, and Animalia. Okay, so one by one we will study about these kingdoms in detail, but these are the five kingdoms under which most of the living organisms, almost all the living species on the earth were coming under this category. So this five kingdom classification was accepted by most of the scientists. This was accepted. Okay, this was rejected, but this was accepted. Now, why this was accepted? Because it was said that R.H. Whitaker included all the living forms. Okay, it included all the living forms. Okay, whether it be plant, animal, human beings, microorganisms, etc. Okay, birds. So what happened? All these things were coming under each of the category. So this was accepted. Now the second point for the acceptance of this classification was that Robert Harding Whitaker classified based on these three things. So the simple things, okay, the most primitive things and the most important things which need to be included for the classification of organism were these three. Okay, and he included these three things in the classification. So that's why also it was accepted. And the third was that trillions, millions of living forms exist, okay, on this earth. So what happened, most of them about we don't know, but when we observe certain species, okay, and when we suppose we don't know about that species, and when we observe it according to the characteristics of each of the kingdom, so that species will definitely be included in some of the kingdoms. Okay, so that's why it is said that any living species on the earth always comes under one of the kingdom here. So that's why this classification was accepted and it was successful. So who gave this classification? It was given by Robert Harding Whitaker.